In Affinity Photo, you can apply effects to an image, but you can also apply them to layers. And I'm just going to show you how you can create some very interesting effects and designs by using layers instead of just the actual primary image. So let's start. This is for PC or Mac. I've got an Adobe stock image here. What I need to do is create a layer. I'm just going to go over here and layer and new layer. Obviously you can use a shortcut, make it even quicker. And I can fill it. So edit and fill. I'm going to fill it with black, but you could of course try out different ones. Maybe just like grey or white or red or green or whatever. But I'm going with black for this case. So click apply. Once you've done that, you can fill it with something. Now you could fill it of course with a gradient, but you can also fill it with things like noise, which creates a very interesting effect. So filters, and go down here to noise and add noise. So add noise. Now the effect for noise, very subtle, 100% on black, you can hardly see it. Now you can go for monochromatic or colour. I'm just going to go with monochromatic and Gaussian and click apply. You can also repeat the effect multiple times. In the case of this noise, I think it's a really good idea because you can barely see any noise at all on this image. You need a little bit of noise, and a few repeats will definitely help, and that's via the filters menu. Go to the top of filters and you can see repeat add noise. So repeat add noise now, subtly, but you can see it now, a little bit more noise coming in. Now you can apply some blurring effects, you can tweak it in all kinds of ways using that. But a really great effect for manipulating noise is go to filters and down to colours and down to emboss. Now emboss can be used for all kinds of things. Now initially it doesn't look very impressive at all. So emboss just becomes grey, which doesn't seem a great start point. But what you can do, you can extend this, you can just change the radius, and you can see as you do that, you can see the effect. And you can increase that, increase that, increase that, and create all kinds of different designs. And also, you can change the rotation as well. And you can push the radius even further. And the great thing about this, you think, oh, that's it. Well, you can go over here and you can set the value to, say, 300 instead, or 500. And you can see the result of that. You get this lovely sort of, well, in this case, obviously about diagonal lines. So click apply. I'm going with 500. Now, around the edges, it's a bit rough. But you'll notice it takes a few seconds to process. There's a lot of processing obviously going on to actually create that effect. Once you've done that, well, you've got the noise, but you haven't got any image. So to get the image, I'm just going to use a blending mode, which you can find obviously in the layers panel. And you can see at the top, blending mode, and you can just change it. Now, just try them out. I love going through them and thinking, you know what, that one works better, or that one doesn't. Some work really good. Some actually have zero effect really. So let's just go through the blending modes in the layers panel. Let's go to the layers here, and I'm selecting this one. Make certain you select the actual pixel layer there with the lines, the noise, and just go through these. So darken, get a nice effect there. Darken, multiply, color. Color burn's always a great one. I love color burn. Linear burn, darker color, and you can see light and screen, color dodge. Now color dodge is a really nice one. I like that one, but you can see, just try out the other ones. Maybe decide, you know what, I love. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to process, so you just think, oh, that's good, and then suddenly it changes. So vivid light. So vivid light. I think I'm going to go with that. But you can just try them. Just run through. Some will work better than others. So once you've got this, well, you could, of course, go with that. I think that's quite a nice, interesting effect. That sort of line sort of cutting through. But also you can apply other filters as well. So let's just go to filters and down to distort. And I'm going to go with deform. Now, the best thing to do is always make certain that the move tool is selected before you use it. Some of the tools, unfortunately, mean that you can't actually use deform particularly well. So filters, distort and deform. And with that, you can then set maybe rigid, go with that. And you can add some pins. And you can add, say, pins along this like guitar here, maybe go along different parts of the image. I can just about make out some of it. And then you can distort it around that. And you create some really like interesting woodcut sort of effects and maybe some like curls there. And just stretch that out a bit further there. Maybe follow that along, gain the line. You know, you can vary it in all kinds of ways. And also, once you've done that, of course, once you've just dragged this. Now, make certain you push it outwards. You notice one thing I've just done. You can quite easily get that get this sort of gap here in the image. Now I don't want that layer to be like that, so I'm just going to drag that up there. So make sense. You look around just before you click apply, because I've done that many times and suddenly noticed there's a real big gap over in one part where the layer has been pulled down a bit too much, and click apply. Now another thing, once you've done this, you can go here to vivid light again. You can just try out. Maybe you might think, you know what, let's see hard light. Maybe that works better. Or soft light. You might think, you know what, with that lovely curled design, that warped design, you might prefer that result more than the other one. Also, what you can do is you can duplicate that layer. You can also, of course, delete it as well. Simply just press the delete key or go down to the bottom of the layers and just delete it. Or maybe make it not visible. It's up to you, of course. You can create all kinds of different designs. Maybe apply some blurs to it now. Maybe apply additional distortions. But as mentioned, you can also duplicate it. So let's just go back to it. So with this layer selected, what you can do, you can always just go over here and got it selected, right click, and you can duplicate it. So duplicate, and now you've got two. You might think actually two is really nice on top. Maybe make 3 or 4. You can make obviously a lot of layers and just add a few more. Maybe change the blend modes. But also what you can do, with the move tool selected, you can reposition it. So maybe just maybe resize it a bit. I mean, this layer can be resized to a certain amount. You don't want to push it too far, but you can then move it around, make certain again. You don't have sort of like that where it's cutting through there. You can really notice it if you do that. But just make sense. You just push it over there on top. Maybe rotate it. Do a whole load of different things. And again, change blend modes. Just try out different ones. Maybe combine them. Maybe that might, again, sometimes once you've applied it, it does take a few seconds to, reset itself a bit. And just try out different ones. Maybe, you might find subtract or divide. Divide's always quite an interesting one to look at as well, to create some truly weird and wonderful effects. Once you're finished with that, what you need to do is go to File and then Save. Save it as obviously the AF photo format. That's the key thing. Or, of course, if you don't want it like that, you just want to export it, just use the File and export it as a JPEG or PNG, etc. You can, of course, also add some additional effects. Simply go to Layer, and again, New Layer, and then you can add a new layer. Maybe go to Edit and Fill again, fill it with black or grey, etc. And then apply different effects to that and blend those with this. Maybe use filters such as filters, colours, and there's a whole range of them. Emboss, Solarize, Halftone's a really good one, as well as Veronio. Never can say that particularly well. And also procedural texture is always one worth checking out. You can also save the effect as well. What you need to do is simply open the assets panel and then add this layer to the assets. So let's just quickly do that. Go to Window and down to Assets. You can see the panel here. With this open there, you can see I've got a category already created, Effects Layers, or whatever you want to call them, of course. And then just go down here to the assets here, right click, and then you can see Add from Selection. Now, the key thing is you need to actually select the layer. So just go over here, pixel layer, that's selected now. As soon as you've done that, you can go over here and Add from Selection. Just here, Add from Selection, and you can then add it. Once you've done that, open another document, any document. Now, of course, the size will matter. So if you've created something that's only like 500 by 500, it's obviously not going to work as well on something that's 8,000 by 8,000. Just go over here to the assets, and you can then drag the asset onto that straight away, and you can now see you've got this lovely design added very quickly to another image. And of course, the effect will obviously vary, and you might not want that flow design. Obviously, it will not work for every circumstance. But of course, depending on the effect, and there's like literally thousands of possible effect layers you could create using this approach. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please put in the comments below. Always great to hear from you. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Always adding new videos all the time about Affinity Photo, Designer, Photoshop, and many, many others. Bye.